Yes, my friend, you're not dreaming. I finally decided to make a long video after more than 70 shorts. But you have to forgive me, because I was preparing something huge for you. I don't disappear for nothing. And there's nothing better to start with than my favorite childhood character, Shadow. And if you don't know, the legend Keanu Reeves is the one voicing him in the upcoming movie. Amazing, right? I swear it feels like he got tired of the whole gangster life, decided it wasn't worth it anymore, and went to join Sonic and his friends for some fries. Anyway, since the movie is about to release soon, let's find out who Shadow really is and why he's the best character in the Sonic universe. Shadow's first appearance was in Sonic Adventure 2, which is considered one of the greatest Sonic games ever. That game was literally dark and deep, full of secret conspiracies, government chases, genetic experiments, even pool tables and pink chaos. But first, grab a cup of mint tea and focus, because this is going to be a long video where I'll take you through the darkest story in Sonic's world. Why was Shadow created? 50 years ago, there was a genius doctor named Maria Robotnik, the grandfather of the famous villain Dr. Eggman. Yes, my friend, the brilliant Jim Carrey will be playing both characters in the next Sonic movie, and sadly it might be his last role ever. Now, Gerald wasn't like Eggman. He didn't want to take over the world. His goal was to create a better world and find cures for diseases, especially for his beloved granddaughter, Maria, who had a rare illness. The only way for her to survive was to live in low gravity. That's why Gerald built an entire space station outside Earth and took her there. On the station, he dedicated his life to curing Maria. So far, nothing sounds strange, right? Just a genius grandfather trying to save his granddaughter. But everything went downhill the moment the government got involved. Be honest, have you ever heard a story where the government steps in and it ends happily? Gerald was asked to join a top-secret government project. The goal was to create the elixir of immortality. At first, he refused because such power was too dangerous for humans. But eventually, he agreed, hoping he could find a cure for Maria. Now you're probably asking, how could he even make this elixir? He's a genius, sure, but not a magician. But in the Sonic universe, what do you do when you're stuck? Exactly, you use the 7 Chaos Emeralds. Gerald tried to harness their power inside capsules. But there was one problem: who could withstand such power? So he began researching ancient ruins about the origin of the emeralds, where he found inscriptions of the Chaos creature, the one Sonic fought in the first game. He collected fossils and remains from that monster and used them to create the ultimate being. And that's how Shadow was born. Shadow's past. The moment you've been waiting for since the beginning, Gerald finally created Shadow. At first, Shadow lived on the space station and grew close to the humans there, especially Maria. But, you know those late-night thoughts at 12 a.m. when you feel worthless and question your existence? Shadow had the same thing. He kept asking himself, why was I created? What's my purpose in life? He felt like nothing more than a government weapon. The only thing that kept him going was his bond with Maria, the one true happiness in his life. They both felt trapped on the station. That's why they shared a dream: once Maria was cured, they would live together on Earth in peace. But what no one knew was that the government was already planning something else. They saw Shadow as a threat because earlier experiments had gone wrong and caused chaos, destroying many cities. Afraid people might discover their involvement, the government decided to erase all evidence and kill anyone connected to Project Shadow. The plan was simple: send troops to storm the space station, kill everyone except Gerald and Shadow, blame the entire disaster on Gerald's failed experiments, and then secretly keep Shadow for themselves. When the attack began, Gerald told Maria to take Shadow and escape. But during the escape, Maria was fatally wounded. Instead of saving herself, she placed Shadow inside a capsule, begged him to live a normal life, and sacrificed herself. Shadow watched his only friend die right in front of him, all because of human greed. Her last words were that he should help humanity, because not all humans were evil, some had kind hearts. Shocked, Shadow fainted, and unfortunately the government found the capsule and froze him. Gerald was arrested and forced to continue Project Shadow under government supervision. When Gerald learned of Maria's death, he lost his mind. Shadow's revenge. Inside his cell, Gerald carved strange equations and symbols on the walls. No one understood them. But in reality, these were his plans for revenge against all of humanity. His scheme turned the space station into a weapon using the power of the 7 emeralds, and brainwash Shadow so that when he awakened, his only goal would be to collect the emeralds and destroy Earth. The government started to get suspicious of Gerald's behavior and decided to execute him and shut down Project Shadow for good. And so, Shadow remained imprisoned in an icy capsule for more than 50 years. Until finally, he woke up, full of rage, ready to avenge Maria. He began gathering the emeralds to carry out Gerald's plan, but to do that, he had to face Sonic and his team. I won't spoil what happens after that, since it might ruin the movie for you. Shadow's powers. Now for the most important part, how strong is Shadow really? Is he truly faster and stronger than Sonic? First, let me tell you, Shadow doesn't actually run. Sounds weird, right? Let me explain. Shadow was created from the energy of the Chaos Emeralds, in other words, Chaos Power. Because of that, he's connected to them and can use their power to gain immense abilities, including eternal life. He can manipulate chaos energy to teleport instantly or even stop time. We even saw this in the movie trailer when he clashes with Sonic. Does that mean he can't run fast? Quite the opposite. He can run at incredible speed, but that's thanks to his special shoes, which let him hover above the ground and even fly great distances. It's more like skating than running. Physically, Shadow is a beast. He crushes Eggman's giant robots for breakfast, robots strong enough to destroy cities. In one Sonic game, he even destroyed meteors. He's so powerful that he defeated clones of himself with the same abilities. As for speed, Shadow's speed is often compared to Sonic's. In fact, in his very first appearance, he was actually faster than Sonic and defeated him several times. He can move so fast that he creates afterimages and duplicates of himself, kinda like Naruto. And just like Sonic, by using the emeralds, he can transform into Super Shadow, a form strong enough to destroy the entire Earth. Is Shadow stronger than Sonic? So who's stronger? The truth is, Shadow and Sonic are basically equals in speed, with Sonic having a very slight edge. But Shadow is superior in strength, intelligence, and skills, plus, he's immortal. On the other hand, Sonic surpasses Shadow in endurance and resilience. That's why any fight between them is impossible to predict. Personally, I lean toward Shadow, because I love him, honestly. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and even if you didn't, hit like anyway, because I know you're a real one. And tell me in the comments, who do you think is stronger, Sonic or Shadow? Peace out, my friend.